I'm Nick Mitchell, and I'm Chief Executive of the Training Foundation. And I go back about 30 years in the learning and development space. Previous to that, I was in business, in industry generally, in the computer industry actually, where I had a background in sales and marketing, general management. And in my last role, which was with a major software business, $1 billion software business, I was responsible for 40 or so trainers across Europe, all of whom were engineers, technically competent for engineering software. A lot of them were PhDs. But the customer satisfaction metric for training was the only one that we ever always failed to meet, and I couldn't really understand why. Because as a finance person by background, I believe that we were doing all the right training, the technical training was there, but the results weren't coming, and I didn't understand why. Some years later, when as my passion for learning evolved into when I left that organisation, set up my own business, I wanted to create a training business. And I set up the Institute of IT Training in 1993 with government support. And quickly we identified that 90% plus of IT trainers had no training skills. They had technical skills, but they had no background in how to communicate that, the soft skills required to do that effectively. And this was kind of like an eye-opener for me, it's a eureka moment in a way. I could now look back and realise why all those 40 PhDs and engineers did not get the result. We didn't have any perception that they needed anything other than technical knowledge, subject matter knowledge. So what we did as the Institute of IT Training was to create a framework for IT trainers to quickly develop those skills, and we created a program called the Trainer Assessment Program, which is now known as the Training Accreditation Program, TAP. And for 7 years, when I was Chief Executive of the Institute, we trained about 12,000 IT trainers in the necessary skills, and we transformed, I believe, the quality of training. And it really energised me to realise that, in fact, this wasn't a problem just appropriate for IT training. It actually had resonance with all training. The great perception, and one of the myths of training, in a sense, is that anybody can be a trainer if they know the subject. So that isn't the case. They need to have certain characteristics in their personality and character, certain abilities, certain qualifications mentally and emotionally that would get to allow them to train other people effectively. And that gave me the passion to take those early ideas forward into the general marketplace. And so I created the Training Foundation, or launched that in 1998. And for the last 15 years, we've now, I think, had something like 27,000 L&D people through our program and help them to develop their skills, not in the sense of technical subject matter knowledge, which isn't what we focus on at all, but the range and spectrum of skills needed to communicate that to other people, to work in different media such as face-to-face and e-learning and blended learning environments, and to develop all the skills that today's professional L&D person really needs. And that's how I come to be here today.